All right, good day everyone. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. This is the weekly stock market review for the 31st of August, the last day of August. I hope everything went well for you the month, that you hit your goals. I'm certainly sure that most of you saw something, or a good portion of you seen something this month that you probably haven't seen before in your young trading careers. For those that are very, very new, for those who've been around, it's been a little while since we've seen this. We're going to talk about that. But as always, if you guys need help with your trading, feel free to reach out to me. Service at thelincolnlist.com is my email. But do yourself a favor. Take the 14-day free trial to our live trade room. See all the trades made live in real time on screen. But not just that. Not just learning the methods, but having a great support team where you can ask questions, where you can participate daily in the market. 14-day free trial. Visit thelincolnlist.com. Now let me talk about the SPY as I always do at the beginning of these weekly recaps. And you can see I still got the line here. I was talking about I wasn't going to be bearish. If you go right just back to last week, I was saying, I'm not going to go bearish until we close under 204. So we're kind of all sitting there, in the room, and we're trading these stocks, and it goes under 204, and it's like, all right, we'll see if there's any kind of reaction, or that's really what you do. You look at these support levels, resistance levels, and you gauge the action at how they work at certain numbers. That gives you kind of a clue. This thing just blew through 204 like it wasn't even there. Next day when the market opens, this thing just goes 1,000 points. And look at this, it goes all the way down into the 182s where we talked about all the way back in October. And I got to be honest, I didn't think we were going to dig that deep, but we went right back into, excuse me, it wasn't August, last October's correction, probably close to 10% here on the SPY, and then just kind of rolling right back up here at 190. All I got to say about it is this. What crazy week. If you could see me right now, I'm just shaking my head back and forth. It's the unbelievable, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, such unreal volatility in this market. But they were really, really good days. As a matter of fact, Monday was probably the best day I had all year. It shows you that if you know what you're doing and you're with the right group, you can make a lot more money when everyone else has no clue what's going on. I mean, that's just the way it is. But unbelievable action. Now we're probably going to see that taper off a little bit, or at least the fear taper off a little this week. But I got a different game plan. What I want to look at, and some of the stocks that have been working the best have been your bigger names like Netflix, Facebook, for the expensive players like a Google, a couple of those kind of stocks. Just kind of been Tesla. Just kind of been going back to the bigger names because they really have the range and the volatility that we've been looking for. One is this Netflix. It just has been a really, really good trader. It just almost followed the market to a T. Big old flush comes down to 85. Now you're up here, and the question is, where do we go next, and what trades are open? And I think you've got to start looking here at this point after such a big rally, such a big move from the lows. If you're gapping up, if people say, okay, like, we're safe to buy stocks again, I think you've got to short gap ups. I think you've got to short stocks that make big moves early because people are going to want to sell that. They're still not over what happened last week. And the fade trade has been really, really good, especially towards the evening. Like you see here in Netflix, you got a nice little rip up here, 119, fades down to 117. A really, really good trade was Tesla for us, where you're catching that fade. You get this para up here the first 20-30 minutes, people are all buying, and it spends the rest of the day just kind of grinding down. That's the only trade on these I'm interested in. No, I shouldn't say that. Let me rewind that. I would say that if you gap up and you see top ranges, so for example, if you're going to start the day out at $7 plus on a Tesla or $4 on a Netflix, you've got to be thinking short. You got to be looking for areas. Now maybe that changes or that trade doesn't work, but you've got to be focused on that area and look for that and see if the short trade's there. Now let's say we go the other way. Let's just say we just open up and we're in the mud. This market goes down 500 points, which is very possible. Then I would just completely shift my stance and start looking at buying some of these names. So really what it's been has been about shorting the rips and buying the dips, but they've got to be range. And what I mean by range, so everybody knows what I'm talking about, if you're a noob and you're trying to learn all of this stuff, or it's the first time you heard it, you're talking about stocks that are moving well outside. Like, so you look at a Netflix or something like that, it might move $4 a day. That's a good move for Netflix. So if you begin the day and you're already up 8 or 9, that's outside of range. That's a big move. It's probably unsustainable. That's the kind of trades we're talking about. Also, maybe you want to take a look at the CWEI. We're kind of looking at over some of these others. This had one big move over the last few days. I mean, this thing come double bottoming off here from 33 to 49. You're right up here. You got a couple of dollars, say 51-ish, just right back here from the 14th. I think you're getting very close to that resistance level right there. This is a attractive looking chart for a short. A little thin sometimes the way it trades, but I'm looking at this one here for a little bit of retracement back down into probably the moving averages somewhere closer to 40. And I'm also looking at this ESPR. I brought this one up last week for the members and just kind of watching this one. We've seen so many stocks just do V-shaped patterns. Like if you're looking at Netflix and Facebook, like I showed you, they're going to look just like the SPY. That's where the money was last week. Could be completely different, but this thing has just kind of been laying down here in the 52s, 52 area, $52 area, and it's just sitting there. And I think you're looking at possibly this thing perking up out of range for a couple of day run. Right now it's not ready. There's just no way that you can go into this thing, I think, unless you're scalping, unless you get in a close above 55. There's just no reason to do it unless it's just dumping on news or something like that where you can take advantage of it and you got a good trade there. So ESPR, we'll see. I just keep watching it, but nothing's happened here over the last week. And then, to finish off the week in style was this ARIA on news. I mean, this, has been that kind of week. Just huge para move here late on Friday. Want to see how this thing works out. Possibly a short or maybe a long. I don't know. I mean, the thing we always talk about here, and for those who've been around for a little while, you remember the VLTCs and those kind of stocks, PBMD. You get the cheap stock like this that makes a parabolic move. It's tough these days. It's been tough to short it on the first day. There's really been a struggle to short it on the first day, unless you've got some nice pivots and you're good at your risk management. But all in all, usually on the first day, they've been able to get a lot of chasers. So, we'll see what happens on day number 2. I think the theme here is if this gaps up, I'd probably be looking for an area to short. I'd have to look at it a little bit closer, but certainly if it gaps up and we're talking about $11 a Monday morning, okay, I'm interested in looking at a short. I think once it starts to fade, if that's the course of action it takes, when stocks do this and they have this big one-day move, if they don't really follow up the next day, it makes it tough for a dip buy, because once it starts going down, a lot of these just continue to go down. I'm not saying that's going to be the case here for this area, but that's a lot. In most cases, that's what happens once they start breaking apart and the momentum leaves them and the volume dries up. They just spend their lives just bleeding out. So I don't know if it would be a dip buy unless you've got a lot of strong volume and it's just a pullback and it's bouncing really solid and there's a lot of volume there. But if every rip is getting sold on, then this thing is probably going to go deep in the red. So it could go either way, really. It's not my job to predict it. It's just my job to do the best I can to trade it right. I'll let the market decide what it wants to do, and then I'll just follow. I mean, that's really all we do. If we sit here and we try to forecast everything, we're gonna mess ourselves up, because nobody can predict the future. So until somebody can, no one can really tell you this is what's going to happen. You just have to play it and let it play out and play it accordingly. Have you a plan A and a plan B? So back to the beginning. If you guys need help with your trading, you're sitting here struggling, you're just messing this whole thing up. You're just not where you want to be. You saw something this week and you're like, man, I can't deal with markets like this, or you just really can't put this whole thing together. Visit the linkinthis.com. Take the 14-day free trial. Trade with us live for a couple weeks. Cost you nothing. Make a decision for yourself if you think that's the kind of environment that can help educate you and get you to the next level. Other than that, thanks for watching this video. You guys have a great September and a great week of trading.